Guys, welcome back to the human condition. And this video is another astrology video. And this video I think is titled, What Does It Mean to be a Sagittarius Moon? And this is the one I was hyping up for a while. I said this is probably one of the most controversial ones. This is because, like in all my videos, I think I talked about in these previous videos, if we go, this is the astrology signs, there's a emotional maturity scale. So it starts with 1 and goes to 12. And this doesn't necessarily mean like your actual maturity, but just means what level your sign's on. For example, it goes from 1 to 12 each sign. And Sagittarius is very high up there. It's 9 out of 12. So the first end, it starts with more self-oriented signs like Aries. Not like they're selfish per se. They just focus more on themselves. And then other oriented signs just focus more on society as a whole. However, the self-oriented signs aren't selfish per se. They just focus more on what they're doing first, and then what are people doing afterwards. Then whereas the other oriented signs are focused on what other people are doing first, and then themselves. If that makes sense. But Sagittarius is number 9. So that being said, what does it mean to be a Sagittarius moon? A Sagittarius moon in Sagittarius. So moon represents, like on my other videos, it means past, home, and comfort. So Sagittarius, moon in Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which means expansion and grace. So when you put that, it's a pretty good sign. Not the best sign to have it in, but not the worst. For example, Pisces would be technically, I guess, the better sign that's ruled by Jupiter to have the moon in. But moon in Jupiter is not terrible. It's still a fire sign. Still awesome people. But a lot of controversial people have this sign. I'll put up one controversial person. An example would be like Andrew Tate, the alpha bro. I'm not going to say if all the controversial people, if I like them or not, just because I'm not that big enough of a YouTuber to be controversial yet, But the alpha bro, lit guy, Andrew Tate, or not lit, depending on how you view it, is a Sagittarius moon. And then there's also going to be someone else I put up there. But one thing I've noticed about Sagittarius moons, the higher, or just the signs in general, the higher you go up, the higher the higher places of power these signs typically get. For example, Aries is so focused on self and individual that they might look like they're in the position of power, but really the other signs, like 2, 3, 4, have a lot higher position of emotional maturity. So technically, they have a higher sense of power most of the time, not always. So with Sagittarius being 9 out of 10, from personal observations, these people, even if they don't have a position of power, they have that like aura, that vibe about them that makes it feel like they're powerful types of people. So they often get powerful positions because they almost already have that vibe to them, So with this sign, moon in Sagittarius, past, home, and family and comfort is an expansion and grace. So kind of like Pisces, right? Emotions are very this sign grants like luck, because emotions, expansion, and grace, your emotions are expanded, how you feel, and Jupiter is the sign of luck. So these people are very lucky for the most part. They like to learn new things and travel. Sagittarius is a sign in general. Sagittarius is the sign of knowledge and travel and strangers. And then be like, what does that mean? You might be like, what does that mean? It means Sagittarius like to meet new people, they like to travel, and they like to learn new things. And they also like freedom. So a lot of times the Sagittariuses, they do not like feeling contained, and that's why they have a lot of time. Sometimes Sagittarius can have a hard time following rules. Now, if you put this in the moon sign, this can be somewhat problematic, because if you don't follow rules, you're obviously going to break some rules. And the positives of Sagittarius, I don't want to sound like I'm roasting the entire time. The positives Sagittarius is they almost have this uncanny ability to see the future, and it's because they make their own future. They have that dog in them. They have to make their own future. So they see it, they want it, and they obtain it. Now, is it always morally, ethically right? Maybe not, or maybe so, depending on your viewpoint. So therefore, they become almost like the leaders of the world. Almost sounds kind of conspiracy theorist like, but in my viewpoint, it seems that way because, for example, like Andrew Tate, right? He was even planning to run for office for something. So that would seem pretty powerful. There's other examples, like what are some other examples? Also love him or you don't like him. I'm not gonna say if I do again. But there's Andrew Tate, Donald Trump, a whole bunch of controversial signs under Sagittarius. This could just be a coincidence, but I think it's because Sagittarius are known for learning new things and being brutally honest and meeting new people, right? And they seek power because they seek freedom. And they might view the only way I can be free is to gain more power, when that's not always the case. So these people are always seem like the leaders of the world almost in a way, even when they're not in that position, which is kind of crazy. But like I said in my previous video, I think 10, 11, and 12 still secretly outrank them, I guess you could say. Maybe not. But 10, 11, 12, at least in my mind, secretly are actually the ones behind the operation. But they kind of let Sagittarius appear that way. Or they just don't know that they have more power than Sagittarius, the 10, 11, and 12. And I'll talk about that a little bit. Also, Sagittarius talks about their opinion as if it is the truth. Whereas a Gemini might be like, this is just my opinion. A Sagittarius has a hard time being open sometimes, which they might struggle with because they want to say what they want to say and they believe their opinions to be the truth a lot of the times. So they will have a hard time admitting sometimes when they're wrong, occasionally, maybe not. But in my opinion, they might have a hard time admitting when they're wrong. And this make it tough for them when the connections they have close to them. It's a fire sign, and it's universal. So universal. Like my last video, one of my videos about fire signs, Leo, fire, interpersonal 101. Leo feels the need they must express themselves. Sagittarius feels the need I must learn everything I can. I just need to know everything. I need knowledge. I need to know everything's going on. Tell me the details. They're straight into the facts type of thing. So what are the relationships like my other videos? Let's see. What are the relationships with Sagittarius and other signs? Sagittarius, universal signs. So Sagittarius conflicts with Virgo, Pisces, and Gemini. So Virgo is, like I will talk about in one of my videos, I think. Virgo is small talk, hard work, and basically the leaders of the job force, right? Sagittarius is not small talk, is brutal honesty, let's get to the truth, let's get to the point. Virgo is small talk. So there you can see the kind of confliction there. When in a dynamic between Virgo and Sagittarius, it's more Sagittarius could potentially get annoyed by Virgo because Virgo might be small talking Sagittarius like, that's awesome, but let's get to the real part of this conversation type of thing. Whereas Virgo might be kind of be like, why do you care so much? Just go along with it type of thing. And that's the dynamic between Sagittarius and Virgo, and that's why it makes a square aspect, because they're all universal signs, kind of like Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, Cardinal, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, fixed, they're all mutable, my bad, mutable signs. Not all universal, all mutable. Meaning these signs aren't the initiators nor the fixed. They can switch back and forth. Meaning each of these signs are initiate when they need to, but are firm, like, and stay and fixed, I guess, when they have to be. For example, Aries and Sagittarius. Sagittarius lets Aries lead as a cardinal sign. But when Leo and Sagittarius might initiate with Leo, but not initiate with Aries. They let Aries initiate with them, where they initiate with Leo, if that makes sense. So that's the confliction between them. Also, Sagittarius, kind of like similar how I said Aries and Virgo might conflict as an inconjunct, because Virgo's the workforce. It's like, I do something for you, you do something for me, whereas Aries might be like, I really you didn't have to do that for me, I appreciate it, but why, since I didn't ask you to do that for me, why do I have to do that for you? That's Aries' reaction to Virgo. Sagittarius might have that similar reaction to the dynamic too, a little bit. Type of thing, because they don't like to feel restricted, that's what it is. Sagittarius wants freedom, and they might feel like kind of unfree in that dynamic. Sagittarius and Gemini are opposites, like all my other videos if you watched them. The opposites clash but attract. Sagittarius, strangers, traveling, learning new things. Gemini, the exact opposite, the neighborhood, close friendships, social networking, but with a smaller group. Gemini can travel, but it's more like within a small area, whereas Sagittarius usually like travel in the globe type of thing. So in a dynamic, Gemini would be the teacher, Sagittarius would be the student, always wanting to learn. Gemini would always want to express, and that's the dynamic there. That's why the push and pull, the annoyance, the aggravation might be Sagittarius might get aggravated by Gemini just a tad, because even though they still like them, obviously. They might get aggravated by Gemini a tad because Gemini's spin opinions, spin bars, you know? And Sagittarius might be like, that's kind of like Virgo, right? But like, what are the facts? Sagittarius might ask Gemini, what are the facts? And Gemini might be kind of aggravated by Sagittarius, even though they're an iconic duo, because Gemini might be like, why can't you just tell me your opinion instead of, why can't you just say your opinion as if it's not a fact? And that's the dynamic. But again, two opposite signs usually end up hanging out a lot because there's a iconic duo type of thing between Taurus, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Gemini, stuff like that. Finally, Pisces, the sign of self-sacrifice and self-isolation. Sounds kind of brutal, kind of deep and intense, but basically that just means the most empathetic sign, the most caring sign, the sign that really takes it all, the burdens of the world, on themselves. That's why they rank number 12. The sign that appears the least powerful, but actually the most powerful sign, in my opinion. Typically the most humble sign of the zodiac, potentially. I could be wrong. But when you put get to the facts, brutal honesty with someone who's very emotional, right? Very sensible, very caring, there's an aggravation there. Because similar to how Cancer might react to Sagittarius as an inconjunct water sign, right? Both water signs. Pisces might see Sagittarius as sometimes unnecessarily brutal honesty, like, you really didn't have to go that far. And Sagittarius be like, I'm just spitting bars, or in their mind, they're like, I'm spitting facts. But in their mind, what they're saying might not actually be the facts. But so there's a miscommunication there. So with Pisces and Sagittarius, they might see them as being too harsh, whereas Sagittarius might see them as being like, I'm just saying what I think is to be true, without realizing they don't have to say everything they say. So that's the dynamic between Sagittarius and Pisces. But all signs are awesome, and all people are awesome. Yeah, and some people, yeah. But Pisces, and that's the dynamic between the two of them. Yeah, brutal honesty. Pisces is emotional, so they might take offense or think that's harsh. Cancer might take offense as well. The difference between how they react to Cancer is a sign of personal emotion. Pisces doesn't react by personal emotion. They might react more like universal emotion, like what you're saying has affected multiple people. Cancer reacts is what you're saying is hurting me specifically. That's the difference between how Cancer and Pisces react to Sagittarius. Yeah, this was my video on what does it mean to be a Sagittarius moon. Disclaimer, if I say anything controversial or hurt your feelings, I've been saying this in all my videos. I'm sorry, I take it back. But I think that's it. So, what is Sagittarius moons? Positive, optimistic, makes their vision a reality almost all the time. Very lucky, romantically involved, highly usually, powerful people. Negatives, sees the world only kind of sometimes struggles to see the world from different viewpoints. Strong willed, unnecessarily brutally honest. And yeah, that's what it means to be a Sagittarius moon. I hope I didn't say anything too brutal. But thank you guys again for all the recent support. I really appreciate you guys. And as always, thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe if you want. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.